All right, let's jump right into this explainer. If you've ever looked at Chapter 8 of the Companies Act 2013 and felt totally overwhelmed by the sheer number of dates, percentages, and rules, honestly, I get it. But don't sweat it. Today, we're going to break all of that down into a story that's not just easy to grasp, but literally impossible to forget. We are going to master the exact timelines, conditions, and penalties of corporate dividend declaration. So, on the docket today, a tale of three companies. We'll be looking at John Wick Private Limited, by John Private Limited, and I Spider-Man Company, before wrapping up with the ultimate timeline. Think of this setup as our perfect legal sandbox. The story starts with three friends who graduated together and founded three very different businesses. Now, they all had a ridiculously profitable year and decided, hey, let's reward our investors and declare a dividend. But as we know, declaring a dividend is really just step one of a highly regulated journey under sections 123 to 127. All right, case one, John Wick Private Limited, the smooth payout. Now, if you know John Wick, you know he's a man of absolute focus and strict rules, right? Well, he brings that exact same energy to Section 123. To maintain flawless corporate compliance, he follows the sequential steps like clockwork. First, his board recommends the dividend, and it gets officially declared at the annual general meeting. Boom, the clock starts ticking. He deposits the exact amount into a scheduled bank within 5 days and pays it out to the shareholders within exactly 30 days. I want to highlight something crucial here, that super strict, rapid-fire 5-day limit to deposit the declared dividend. And remember, that has to go into a completely separate bank account. The law absolutely forbids mixing dividend money with your daily operational cash flow. None of that. John Wick nailed this perfectly, paying his shareholders way before that 30-day deadline. Case closed, zero drama. It really comes down to this fundamental rule under Section 123. Shareholders can approve a dividend rate that is equal to or lower than what the board recommends, but they can absolutely never increase it. It's a hard boundary, and John Wick's company followed it to the letter. Moving on to Case 2, John Private Limited, the missing shareholder. So our second friend runs John Private Limited, and just like John Wick, he really wants to do things by the book. He opened his separate bank account within 5 days, started making payments, smooth sailing, right? But suddenly, he's holding funds for a loyal shareholder who just vanished, poof, without a trace. The 30-day payment deadline is rapidly approaching, and this person, who holds 10,000 shares, by the way, is absolutely nowhere to be found. The warrant bounced. So what on earth does the law require John to do now? Well, according to Section 124, unpaid dividends have to be transferred to a special unpaid dividend account within exactly 7 days after that initial 30-day payment window expires. John can't just keep that money sitting in his company's regular accounts. The second that 30th day hits, a brand new 7-day timer starts. He has got to move that specific unpaid cash into an unpaid dividend account at a scheduled bank. And here's the exact statutory path he had to follow to keep things totally legal. After moving the money within that 7-day window, he gets 90 days to prepare a statement with the missing shareholders' details and get it posted right on the company website. After that, the money just sits there in that unpaid dividend account for 7 long years, basically just waiting for the shareholder to finally show up. But here is a massive compliance point you absolutely must remember. After 7 consecutive years of being unclaimed, both the unpaid cash and the physical shares themselves are transferred to the government's Investor Education and Protection Fund, or IEPF. Under Section 124, subsection 6, John couldn't just hand over the cash. He legally had to transfer those 10,000 actual shares to the IEPF too. But, silver lining, if that missing shareholder ever does turn up, they can apply directly to the IEPF authority to get their shares and money back. Okay, let's hit Case 3. Is Spider-Man Company the fraudulent web? Here's where we hit our dramatic climax. This is a huge cautionary tale for Section 127. Our third friend, well, he thought he was a lot smarter than the law. He declared this massive dividend just to artificially pump up his stock price, with literally zero intention of actually paying it out. The 30-day deadline came and went. Obviously, shareholders got furious and regulators came knocking. Spider-Man tried to weave this whole web of excuses, but let me tell you, the Companies Act is incredibly strict about intentional withholding. You see, when a dividend is declared, it immediately becomes a legally enforceable debt. Section 127 does not mess around. By failing to pay out that money within 30 days, Spider-Man triggered the heavy hammer of the law.
he ended up facing some of the absolutely harshest penalties in the entire Companies Act.
Just think about how the liability is strictly separated here. It's wild. The company is bleeding money with a massive 18% simple interest rate penalty. Meanwhile, the director in default faces actual prison time and steep daily fines. So, for Spider-Man himself, as the director who knew about the default, he faces up to 2 years in prison, plus a fine of at least 1,000 rupees for every single day the default continues. And his company, they have to pay an aggressive 18% per annum interest to the shareholders for the delay. Now, Spider-Man desperately tried to use the specific statutory exceptions, which you might remember as the Lado defenses, to escape. But because this was pure fraud, he totally failed to find a loophole. And yeah, he got jailed. The law does forgive non-payment if it's due to the operation of law, or if it's lawfully adjusted against a shareholder's debt, or maybe there are directions from the shareholder that just can't be followed, a dispute over the right to receive, or some other reason that's not due to the company's default. But Spider-Man, he had none of these. His failure was pure evasion, and he paid a huge price for it.
All right, bringing it all home with the ultimate dividend timeline.
Let's pull everything together into one master flowchart to really lock these legal limits into your memory. Ready? Day 0, declaration. Within 5 days, deposit it in a separate bank account. Within 30 days, pay the shareholder. If it's unpaid, you've got exactly 7 days to transfer it to the unpaid dividend account. If it sits there for 7 years, transfer it to the IEPF. And if you willfully default, like our friend Spider-Man, bam! That's an 18% interest penalty for the company and up to 2 years in jail, plus daily fines for the director. So just keep John Wick, By John, and Spider-Man in mind, and you will effortlessly recall all the limits, conditions, and penalties of Chapter 8. But I'll leave you with one final thought to ponder. We know exactly what happens when a shareholder goes missing, or if a director commits blatant fraud, but what if the company accidentally pays the dividend to the completely wrong person? Who actually bears the cost then? Think about that, and keep exploring the fascinating web of corporate law.